Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this in the morning. 15 minutes to change our lives. Beautiful Chana for Shavuos, discussing about Har Sinai, why the Torah is given up in Har Sinai. So, just to recap, we said that the first question was why was the Torah given Har Sinai, and the answer was because Har Sinai was very humble and very small, and that's in order to be able to get the Torah, you have to be humble and small. It was small, it was weak, it was like a nebach, and seemingly that's what you have to do. You see the Torah. You're hard in your ego, and that doesn't give you the Torah. So then Alter Rebbe asked, if the way to receive the Torah is through being small and humble, so why was the Torah given on a mountain b'chlal? Give it in a valley or in a field. That's a lot more humble. That's a mountain is ultimately it's nasus. It has some inflation, some yeshus, some rising. So we said the answer is because you do need that. It needs to be in check. And this is what we'll continue discussing today. It's a balance, but you need to have some type of feeling of self-worth. Otherwise, you will go and you'll say, Mi ani umani, u'ma'avarati. Yeah, mi anoichi u'ma'avarati. You're gonna say, who am I? What am I doing? I'm nothing. Nothing that I do matters, and your whole perspective will be off, and then you won't have the energy and enthusiasm to achieve. I was speaking to my son yesterday. I was asking about different things that people do, and we were talking about Tanya Valpeh, these kids that learn like 40 prakim or something, like crazy amounts. And he was like, how do they do that? So I was thinking to myself, so I said to him, it's because they kochen it, they have a connection to it. Just like we all have things that we like, passionate about, and they became passionate about this. But if they would come and they say to themselves, oh, I'm a nobody, what's it all worth? It's irrelevant. Then they would never really achieve anything. Part of the achievement is having this sense of self-worth, self-esteem. And this is what we're saying. So let's continue. He said, yeah. So if you have no self-worth, you don't raise yourself up, you don't have any type of self-esteem, you'll never go putting the effort to come in and do the avodah. But you'll say, who am I? What's my avodah? A perfect example of this is I find very much, unfortunately, when it comes to like davening in amongst Lubavitchers, that we think to ourselves that davening is like this avodah that's meant to be, these very high level people, and I'm not there. Who am I to daven? Me daven? I'm not shy to these things, and we put ourselves down, and therefore we don't do any of this stuff. And that's what he's saying. You have to feel that what you're doing is achieving. Me, I'm davening. My davening is worth something. How come I davening? Who am I? I'm not into the masmid. I'm a man of futafas. People like this. Hillel, Parch. I'm just a simple guy. I'm nobody. And we're saying that's not a healthy mindset. The whole purpose, what we're talking about here is the Torah is given Har Sinai, that we have to be a mountain. I have to say, no, what do you mean? I can daven. I can do all these things. It's like the story of the Rebbe that this Bacher was in 770, and he had a little bit of an ego, and the Bacher knew how to tell him about it and really put him in his place, and he got really bothered by it. So he went to the Rebbe, and like the Chiddush for his birthday, and he wrote to the Rebbe about this issue that he has, he has an ego and all these Bachrim and telling him, what should I do about it? So the Rebbe answered him, and you could say this is exactly the Maya. The Rebbe said to him, be all these things. Be all these things. You think you're such a Talmud Chacham? So be a Talmud Chacham. You think you're a big Oved and you daven for hours, and everyone's telling you it's a fake, it's not true. Be that guy that davens. And this is what the Rebbe is saying. Don't come and put yourself down, saying after a bittul. This is not the healthy bittul we're talking about. what we're talking about is, and what we're saying here is, you have to believe in yourself that you can be whatever it is when it comes to good things, of course. Am I shaykh to be Tam Chacham? Yes. Am I shaykh to be the most edel woman? Yes. Am I shaykh to light Shabbos candles early? Yes. Am I shaykh to daven and have deep kavanas? Yeah, I'm shaykh to all of these things. And that's what we're saying here. That's what you have to realize. If you don't think that way, so then you drag yourself through the mud. It's hard, and Yiddishkeit is unenjoyable, and the whole process is very painful, and you're missing the point ultimately. That's what we're saying here. That's why you have to have a yearning heart, with the desire and with the thirst that it has. The only way you can have a thirst is when you appreciate that there's something that's something to get, that I can get something. But the key is you have to have more bittul. And this is sort of what we're saying. The Torah is given Har Sinai, but on one hand, it was a small mountain. The other hand, it was a mountain. We have to be a mountain, but it can't be a big mountain. We're going to be a small mountain. Meaning we have to have self-esteem and healthy self-esteem. We have to have a sense of value, and we can give, and we can take, and we can do things, and we can produce, and we have value and worthiness. But that shouldn't become our whole life. That's there to help facilitate us doing avodah. Yes, he has a note over here that he explains this good idea like this. The idea of Har Sinai is basically bringing down from a different maimon. So he says like this: the idea of Har Sinai being a mountain, but also small, will be understood with Alter explanation on the Torah on Megillas Esther of the following concept mentioned in the Gemara. It says in the Gemara that a Torah scholar, Talmid Chacham, comes from Satan. A Torah scholar, a Talmid Chacham, needs to have ego, 1/8 of an eighth, meaning 1/64. He needs to wear like a kernel of grain is encompassed by chaff. That's what it says in the Gemara. That needs to have this yeshus that is 1/64, which is like a kernel around the grain, like a kernel of grain that's encompassed by the chaff. Chaff is there that covers the grain while it grows and protects it. So the Alter explains that in the mind, the main concept is chachma, which has 32 parts of chachma. Now in the heart is leiv, 32 as well, which is the miracle of 32. So 32 plus 32 is 64. So 1/64 of ego means that out of all of his combined intellect and emotion, one aspect should be in the mode of ego. Meaning there needs to be a yearning in the heart. He should want to have chachma. He should want to achieve an obligation. We should want these things. We should want to have a connection with Hashem. Why? If you're going to say to yourself, me, connection with Hashem, it's not shaykh. It doesn't make any sense. I'm a nobody. In comparison to Hashem, and it's true you're nobody in comparison to Hashem. But if you feel that way, the fact of the matter is Hashem made this world, and he made us in it, and he wants us to have a connection with him. So you have to realize that he wants you to do that, and he wants you to strive for that connection. But if you're going to say, I'm a nobody and I can't compare myself to anybody, and it's impossible, all these things, so then you're going to lose out on your whole Yiddishkeit. But there is no yearning to have, but if there's no yearning to strive higher, then he will never achieve the true nullification, true connection to Hashem. And if you want true bittul is not saying I'm a nobody. That's not bittul. That's just being a nobody. Bittul is that I'm one with Hashem, that I am not separate from Hashem. So now let's explain this concept of the kernel and the wheat and the chaff around it. The Mitzvah explains in the His Hisafa to this Maimer, he says like this: when wheat starts to grow from the ground, the chaff protects the kernel while the grain is growing from the wind and the heat and the sun. So the chaff is protecting the grain as it grows. But once it's fully developed, then the chaff is no longer needed and should be discarded. The person can eat just the kernels. We don't eat the chaff. It's not very good. Or if you're eating chaff, it's low quality. So you don't want to eat that. But the chaff has its purpose. It's protect the kernel while it grows. So too, when a person starts to serve Hashem, he needs the ego, meaning the yearning and striving for more that he feels himself missing, and he wants to grow to become something much greater spiritually. Only after years of spiritual growth can he come to a level that he's so nullified to Hashem that he doesn't feel himself at all. And he doesn't feel himself as any doesn't feel he has any spiritual agenda. He only feels Hashem and his mission. At that point, he can disregard his ego. So he's saying you need the ego to get you all the way through. The egos want to get you, keep you motivated, keep you going and feeling you achieving something. And it's healthy. It's healthy to have a good ego. But once you do years of avodah with this ego, you're using it. You're using it to help you. It's not using it to ruin yourself, but you're using it as a way to push yourself to achieve more and to go. Like the Rebbe said, feel these things. Use your ego to help you do more, learn Torah, do more mitzvahs, help people. I can help people. Who uses such an ego? You help people. Yeah, I can, and that's healthy. Ultimately, you'll come to the highest level, but that's after years of Veda. For the time being, have that ego, of course, in check, like we're saying, but have it and use it out. The spiritual growth, just like the chaff, it's got it. And once you're complete, once you're grown, you're fully developed, then you can get rid of it. You don't need it anymore. But the whole point of it is being there to protect you. However, until he reaches that level, he needs that ego to protect him from the winds and the heat, meaning from the feelings of inferiority, saying, who am I to grow spiritually? I want closer to Hashem. I'm a nobody. I'll never accomplish it. So that's why we need the chaff to protect us from saying those things, those winds, the heat and the wind. That's those negative voices from outside and especially from within. Similar feelings. To protect him from that, he needs this tiny ego, the 164th, keep him going. And that's what we're saying. So now we've explained this is the first answer to the second question of why the Torah is given dafka specifically on the mountain. And we answered because the Torah is teaching us that you need to be on a mountain. You need to have a mountain. It doesn't have to be a big mountain. It shouldn't be a big mountain, but it should be a mountain. The mountain is what's going to get you to strive, to push yourself and to go and to achieve and to not get caught up and not get belittle yourself and put yourself down and have no unhealthy ego. Ultimately, yeah, but it has to be a small mountain, so you have to have that in check. You have to go too far, but it's very important. Yeah. So now we're gonna go and now the next answer that he gives. Okay. Yeah. Now we're going to explain it in a whole different way. Very interesting. Let's see. This is also the idea of, like it says in the pasuk in Yeshaya, I'll gather the anavim, the humble ones in Hashem there will be happiness. I'll have joy with Hashem, being humble. What's happiness? Joy, happiness is when a person picks him up. When a person feels himself strongly and picks his ego up, which is usually the opposite attitude of total surrender to Hashem. Normally, being happy, talking about is being selfless and totally non-ego. As he was saying in the pasuk, you gather the humble ones and Hashem be simcha. So now, usually, yeah. Sorry, let's do this again. It's a little bit confusing. I'll do it again. This is the idea that they gathered the humble ones Hashem simcha. Now, that's what the pasuk is saying. Now, generally, what happens is normally being happy is about yourself. It's very connected to yourself. Now, let's say being humble makes you happy. How does being humble make you happy? This happens. We're talking about from the pasuk. Is nimshach min ha'anava v'ashiflus dafka. It's from the anava, the humility and the selflessness. So if you have humility and selflessness, you're nobody. And how can you be happy? Who am I? Who am I to be happy? He's going to explain this. Explained in Tanya Parak Lamadalad and the Parak Lamadalad. Shmitzad haguf v'anefesh v'hamis. This is over there that you can have two opposing emotions at the same time. Now he explains. Now you're gonna ask, how can I have two opposing emotions? One's coming from nefesh bahamis, one emotion, and one emotion coming from nefesh lakis. So mitzad the go of nefesh bahamis. When you look at your body and your nefesh bahamis and its desires for physicality and not caring about spirituality and doing things that are not really valuable to yourself, not helping you in your life or anything like this. It's disgusting and it bothers you and annoys you. should. You should be very disgusted. But at the same time, you can be happy. Why can you be happy? At the same time, you can be happy because you realize as much as I'm doing the wrong thing, like we're doing the worst things, I'm destroying my life. I have a godly soul. I have a pure neshama, here, and it's beautiful. And I have this connection to Hashem that can never be destroyed. And you can be happy, like, wow, it's so amazing. Yeah. And look over there. And we're going to explain it more, but we have to stop for the day. And Mitzvah Hashem, tomorrow we'll try to finish it off. A few more good points coming up. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And I hope everyone has an amazing day.